Hi, today is gonna be a proper diary because usually I talk about some things that I've done in the day, but not everything that I've done or seen. Um, but today, I think today it was fun packed and it was drama packed day. I got up early, not early enough. It's a Saturday, so I kind of got up about maybe 9 or 9:30 maybe. Went in and did some things in my garden, which I always do, every Saturday or Sunday morning. I kind of go into my garden, do a couple of things, whatever I need to do in the garden. And then about 12, I spent quite a bit of time. The sun was shining, so I spent quite a bit of time in the garden, and then I finished everything I needed to do. I came back in and I had something to eat, showered, got ready. And I think last time I spoke about how we intended to go on the train to go somewhere, and we didn't because it was raining like crazy that day. So today we decided, okay, the sun's shining, so it would be a really great idea to go on the train just for, just go somewhere, have some fun, and just spend a day somewhere in a different city or just doing something different. So we I got to the train station, parked the car, and then went into the train, into the, like the train entrance, or I would say entrance. It's like a little hall, when you enter the train station, there's like a little room where you go through in, through to the, what do they call it, to the platforms, where you go to the platforms. So I got there and then I looked on the board, because the board tells you it tells you what trains are going to come and at what time and where they're going to stop. So I looked, there was four on the board at the time. So one was like something like 1421, 1425, 1420, and I wasn't sure which one I would go for, because obviously, like I said, it wasn't like a planned trip to anywhere. So I could easily just go in any direction, whether it's northbound, southbound, east, west, whichever direction that the next train or the one that was reasonably priced would be. So I got a train. I checked the prices for the first two, and it was a little bit too much for people who are not going specifically to do anything. It wasn't worth the price. So eventually decided to catch the train that was going towards Leeds and drop off at Sheffield. So that was for two people. That was 18 pound 50 or something, and it was a return, and it said duo, like it was a duo ticket, and it says both parties have to travel on this at the same time, on the same train. So that was the condition of the ticket, but it was reasonably cheap. It was very, compared to all the other trains that I had checked. And then maybe 10 minutes later, the train came and we got on the train. So the first one, as we sat down, there was this lady who was sitting maybe about three rows up. So three rows up on one of those seats, the seats where you've got a table, they've got a table in the middle. So this lady was with a young girl who was about 10 years old. And the whole time, she dropped off at the next stop, which is, I suppose that's where they were supposed to drop off. But she was probably like a grandmother to this 10-year-old girl, or somebody who was not, I don't know, not happy with the girl. I don't know. But the whole time, I think for the 10 minutes that they were on that train, well, we were on the train at the same, because they were already on the train when we got in the train. She was shouting at this young girl, and she kept saying, so the first time she says, we're going to drop off in 15 minutes, so can you start packing your things? And she was one of those people with very loud voices, and the train itself, the carriage is not very big, so everybody's quiet, probably on their phone or trying to talk nicely. You don't want to talk too loudly, so you don't want people to overhear a conversation. On the other hand, you also being respectful to other people who are on the train. So she is shouting. She says to her, can you get all your things ready? And this is 15 minutes before the train, the next stop. And the girl probably was doing, I didn't know what the girl was doing. And she probably didn't start getting her things ready or whatever. I have told you so many times to get your things ready. I will leave you on this train if your things are not ready. And she was shouting, right? And we only heard her say it once. And then she's telling this girl that I told you so many times to get your things ready. Anyway. And then they were doing, so she had I think they were eating some sandwiches and some drinks or whatever. And then she says to the girl, of any of these things, which ones do you want to take? We could all hear the conversation. So because it was so loud, and the girl says, oh, I don't want to eat. I don't want to take any of the things. And then she got mad. She says, I went and bought all these things, and you are leaving food. You are leaving food. You either finish it or take it with you. So I don't know. So then anyway, and then she gave her like a necklace or something. Whether it was a necklace or maybe one of those little bags that has like a chain, because from where I was sitting, all I saw was this little chain. And then she says to her, can you put this on your neck? Or I don't know. I think that's what she said, on your neck. And the girl put it on her neck. And then she put it on top of the table. I think it was a handbag. And then she's like, why are you putting it on the table? I told you to put it on your neck. But because she's got it hanging over her shoulder or her neck, but she just put the bag on the table. It's not like she actually didn't have the bag over her. Oh my God. And then I think eventually she just started talking about, you should put all the things together. Don't touch any of the rubbish. Just leave the rubbish on the table, which they did. They didn't even pack it away or anything. It was so rude. But everybody in the train was like rolling their eyes and just like, this is so bad. And then she then says to the girl, no offense, but you're 10 years old. You should know better. You should be doing better than how you are acting. And the thing is, the girl never responded to any of this. It was just one person talking. I really wonder what a 10-year-old should be doing, or what sort of behaviors a 10-year-old is expected to have, because to me, she was just respectful, and she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't talking to anybody. She was probably playing on her phone or an iPad or whatever she was doing, but which is what I would assume young people of her age, like children, would be doing. But for this lady to treat her like she's supposed to be like a 27-year-old who should know everything, who should be able to pack her own things. And when they got up, they literally didn't have anything. They just had a couple of bags, like plastic bags, but that was it. It's not like she had to pack, because you're sitting in a train anyway, so it's not like you you need to pack all your clothes or whatever back into a suitcase. But it was fascinating. Anyway, so they got off at the next stop. And then at that stop, another two people got in and sat with us. So we then moved from where we were sitting to where this lady was sitting, because it was a four-seater type thing. It was more comfortable because it's a four-seater. So, and then two people who were not related, came in and sat next to us. And one of the ladies, she was going on a first date, and we talked about. She says she met this guy on Hinge or something, and they had been talking, and he's such a nice guy, and I'm like, are you sure? Because the way she was talking, he seemed to be such a really genuine person. I'm not sure, obviously, these days, because young people, who are dating, how they obviously meet people on these dating apps. But from what I hear, most of the people that most of the people, or these girls meet online, are like cringy, or there's just something that's what I hear. I have no idea. But this girl, she seemed to be really, really excited. And then I was asking her to say, what do you know about this guy? He's got a job. So she was saying he's got a job. He's been to he's actually a teacher, which was a really good thing. And he had planned like mini golf to take her for me. It was in the afternoon, so it was a good date. It was like a good date. So they were gonna go for mini golf, and then after the mini golf, they would then go and have something to eat. She says he wanted something more casual, so he booked. He says we're gonna go to Nando's, and then after Nando's, they would then go to a pub. So he gave her all the details of which Nando's, which mini golf, and which pub they were gonna go to, because he says, I don't want you to think that I'm gonna take you somewhere. So if you want to tell somebody at home to say these are the places that we're gonna go, so at least somebody keeps an eye on what's going on, just in case. You never know when you meet a stranger what could happen. There's been a lot of stories. And so she was saying all this, and she says we had like a really, really, really long conversation. We've had quite a lot of long conversations. So she's happy to finally meet this person, and he is a genuine type of person, and they have a similar sort of like life progression. In a way, she's 26, he's 27. So they're trying, both of them. He's living with roommates. He's not living at home, but with roommates. She's living at home still, but she's working away she's trying to save money so she can buy her own house, type of thing. So she's focused. He's focused. So I wished her all the best, and she did. She was so happy. She was so excited. It's so nice to see young people excited about something. And I was like, I need to know what's gonna happen. I need to know what how the date went. So I gave him my Instagram, and we connected on Instagram. So hopefully tomorrow she'll send me details of how it went. So fingers crossed for her. I hope she had a really good date. And then the other lady who was sitting, so we were all having a conversation, all four of us anyway, sitting there. She was a little bit older, and she was from another village, and she was going to meet her sister, and who was having a birthday. So her sister was having a birthday, invited a couple of friends to a pub. I don't know the name of the pub. She had the name of the pub, and there were not a lot of people, maybe about 4 or 5, because these are adults. They're not like children who need to have like 20 or 30 people at the party. So she was meeting her there. She'd never actually, she said, I'm not very familiar with Sheffield. So her sister was going to give her directions as to where she was going to go after when she arrives. So she talked about her. She's got twin boys, one who goes to Bristol and one who goes to Leeds University. And it's so nice. I think when you're a mother, I mean, like, I'm a mother. So the only thing when mothers meet, I'm not saying people who are not mothers have nothing in common, but you just find common ground straight away. You're like, oh, what does your son do? What does your daughter do? So we kind of like started exchanging stories about our children and what they've done, how proud we are of what they've achieved in life. So she's so excited about her sons when they finally graduate their like second year university, and one's doing politics and the other one was doing mathematics, or yeah, mathematics. But she was just such a proud mom, and I was proud that she was a proud mom, because I was thinking to myself, we're all us as parents, when you see your children achieving, when you see your children doing so much better than you expected them to do, you feel like you've done the right thing to raise them in the right way. You've done a good job as a parent, and it might not take them. They might not be 100% successful straight away, but at least they're heading in the right direction. At least you've given them a good platform to succeed in their life. So we were both proud. I'm a proud mom anyway. I'm constantly like, anywhere I go, if somebody has a conversation with me, they're gonna know that I'm proud of my daughter. So I don't actually. Oh, she's going to listen to this and then she'll think, oh my God, my mom talks about me all the time. I do. But anyhow, but it's just one of those things where as parents, we kind of want to share our stories. We want to share our successes, because your child is your greatest success. I would say, yeah, your child's your greatest success. Everything else, whether it's a job or whether it's your career or how big your house is or whatever, those things are like secondary to, because you don't go in the train and start talking about your 20-bedroomed house. You go in a train and to a stranger and talk about your child, or things that are more normal and more attainable, and that relates to other people, because you're not going to start saying, oh, I've got this much money, I've got this much money. But anyway, they were lovely, and then they dropped off after like maybe a 30-minute journey. After we had like this amazing conversation, they dropped off. So we were going to carry on the train to go and drop off, not in Sheffield, but we were planning on just dropping off at Meadowhall, because then at Meadowhall you get you go and have something to eat, you look around shops, and then you come back into the train, and the train wasn't moving. So, and then we just decided, okay, time to get off. So after maybe about 5 minutes of staying on the train, we got off. So I'm standing there because we're waiting to go. I think I can remember what we were doing, but I remember I was standing at the platform, and this man just comes up to where I was with his trousers. Like, his trousers were down, like on his right, almost by not by his knees, but just like on his bum, like all the way down on his bum. And he just stared at me. And I tried, because I could see him on my side, and I was like, if this man wants to ask me for money, I'm not going to give him any eye contact whatsoever. Because when a person is trying to ask you for money, like homeless type people, they stare at you, and then you give each other eye contact, and then he starts talking, and they won't let you go, they won't leave you alone. So I was like, no, no, I'm going to pretend like I can't see him, but I'm trying to keep an eye out so that he doesn't come any closer. Because if he was going to come any closer, I would probably just move backward or sideways or whatever. And he didn't. So he just carried on standing there. And then he pulled up his pants, and then he turned away. And guess what he does? He goes right down onto the train tracks. And I'm looking and I'm like, that's the same guy who was staring at me a minute ago. So he goes on the train tracks, and then you see all this security and the rail police people on their walkie-talkies and going, and I'm looking, and I thought you went on the train tracks so you could cross over to another platform and then stop there. But he didn't. I mean, obviously, you can't do that in the first instance. You shouldn't do that. But I just thought, well, there's no train coming. There's no train coming. He probably looked and thought, oh, I'm not on the right platform, so I'm just going to cross over to the next platform. Obviously a little bit loopy, but it's logical enough for a person to decide, I might miss my train if I go all the way up and then go on the footbridge and cross over. So I thought that was his logic. I didn't see anything wrong. Well, obviously there was something wrong with what he was doing, but I thought he had some sort of logic to what he was doing. And then he didn't cross over to the other side. He starts walking on the tracks, and then as soon as you realize that these people are following him, the police and whatever on the side, because obviously they're not going to go on the tracks, he starts sprinting, he starts running, and obviously at this point they've told all the trains to stop because there's a person on the tracks. And this guy, he carries on running and gets to where the barriers are, where the platforms end. And I thought, oh, it's now a little bit lower. He's going to jump over to the other side. So at least he can jump over to the other side because there's nothing else. It's all built up. It's almost like a tunnel because you've got all the roads at the top. What's he gonna do? You're not really going to walk on the tracks unless you've got some sort of death wish, which he probably did, or he probably didn't. He just didn't care about the consequences of what he was doing. So he then he carried on running. And they're like, but the police people couldn't go on the tracks. And they knew they would find him somehow because he then started climbing. So on the side of the rail where it's all built up, it's all bricks on the side, there's like a ladder of some sort. I don't know where it ends up. So he gets on that ladder. So he's climbing on the ladder and he's going up. And I'm like, oh my God, that boy is going to fall. It was such a high. It's very, very high. And I'm like, oh my God, that man, what's he doing? And then he carries on climbing. And then I actually saw him on the other side. He managed to climb over and onto, I think there's probably like a hatch or something. And then he went over and you could see him going up the hill because there was a hill, like a hill where people were sitting, sunbathing and stuff like that. So I saw him and he was still running because at this point he obviously knew that the police are after him now because, for you to start going on the tracks, you're delaying all the people on the trains, you're delaying everybody else, you're putting other people in danger, you're putting your own life in danger. It's just, it's not something that you do. So he keeps running. So eventually we get out of the train station because we were, all the drama, because he had gone up. He was up the hill. So the drama was finished at this point. There was nothing to see there. Got up to outside, and then just got to the outside, so we could start walking up. And then there was these guys, I think they were men or boys, who were I think they're called JW, Jehovah's Witness, jw.org. And they had like their like a stand of some sort where they have all these books where they're trying to sell. I don't know whether they're selling it or they are trying to invite you to come and join their organization, or they're just trying to let you learn about God. I'm not sure exactly what they're standing there doing or what their intention is. I have no idea. So one of the boys approached me and started saying, and with the book, he was holding a book, and he says, "Have you heard about Jesus?" or something like that. I don't know what he said. I was, when you can see somebody coming at you and you don't want to have a conversation, you don't want to be like be sold something or start engaging in a conversation about something you don't want to be. I'm just minding my own business. I don't have time for that. So I'm like carrying on walking as if I can't see this boy following me with this book and trying to say all these things. Oh my God, it's so bad. It's bad. They're honestly young, well-dressed people doing God's work, I assume. And they are, in their own way, obviously doing the right thing. And they decided that the people that you're going to get involved, the people that you're going to approach are the people that are going out shopping. So so anyway, I decided I'm not getting involved. So I kind of crossed the road and then went over to the other side. So he stayed on that way he was originally. And that was that part. And got to Sheffield, just looked around and then turned back. And then on the way back, we were on the train. And when we got in the train to come back home, we were sat next to this a parent and a mother and daughter who were coming from Leeds, where the daughter was having an open day. Yeah, it was an open day for potential students to start at Leeds University. There were quite a few of them, and in that train, the train was full. So they were like, "Oh, because their own train was cancelled because there were people on the tracks." So everybody was then asked to get on this train and then drop off at Retford and then get a train that's coming from Hull or some, because they came from Leeds. So the whole line from Leeds to the train station was all, or to London rather, that leads to London. All the trains were cancelled. So the only way they could do was go in another direction and then cross over and then catch a train that's coming from another direction. So that's how they done it. But at that point, their train, because our train got delayed. We were waiting in that train. We sat like in the middle of, in the middle of train stations for maybe about 15-20 minutes. And the driver was making announcements to say, "Unfortunately, there's a person on the tracks." I'm like, how many people are on the tracks today? It was, I know I don't go on trains, like local trains that much, but today there was just a lot of people on tracks. And I do hope every one of them, is okay, because being on a track array, and you know that a train's gonna come, it's not a good thing. It probably shows a lot of underlying issues. But I do hope that everyone is safe and did go home or did get the help that they needed. So, yeah, eventually we ended up getting home. Okay. After maybe being on a train, which would have been maybe 30, 45 minutes, we were in the train for an hour and a half. But anyway, it was fun. It was a good experience and we enjoyed it. The weather was good. So happy Saturday.